Hello, Etty. Good morning,
Hello.
Jeff. I'm doing good. How are you all doing?
Fine. There's a sun today that came to visit
Fine.
us.
You took our sign.
Oh, no, no. Just for a couple of hours, so it's a light visit.
Okay. No, I think we have some sunshine too, actually. I just seen it pop out. Oh, you shared some sun with us. Thank you.
Yeah. And Jeff, how is it today?
We have rain, so
Oh,
it
surprise.
it yeah, it should help the grass maybe start to grow again or something. So,
Good,
yeah, spring is here.
good.
I'm glad that you have sunshine there and Jill has it. So,
Yeah.
It was almost 90 days without the sun, so it's really rare here.
really? Wow.
Wow. That's
Yes.
a long time.
Yes, like we had like few days with a bit of sun popping out, but all in all, since Christmas, I mean,
Wow.
yes,
That's got to be a bit unusual, isn't it?
it is extreme winter. There is no documentation for such winter. I mean,
To have it overcast that long, huh?
yes, yes,
Yeah,
I'm
that's a long time.
I'm surprised the flowers could pop out the way they have,
yes, it is interesting.
regardless. Yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. So it is the first day that we had completely full sun. It's still a bit mild, it's not warm, but still the sun, how do you say, improves the mood of many people. So,
Oh yeah,
uh,
we know about that.
Yeah.
yes, and there's a sense of preparation for the next holiday. So with the sun, also there's a sense of a new season coming and great holiday. I mean, everybody is expecting already, preparing for the next holiday. So there's a
And,
sense of,
and
yes,
and people already last week had some holiday, didn't they?
yes, yes. So they had a holiday, and now they're preparing for this is the major holiday all over the. I mean, Passover is
Y-
the
Yeah.
Christmas, I would say, in terms of importance and attention of people.
hmm
Yes,
Yeah, about everybody's into that, I suppose.
yes, yes.
So,
Here is Victoria. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Nice to see you here.
hello, Victoria.
Hello, Victoria.
So, in this beautiful weather, I would like to ask you, do you have questions? Would you like to share something? Something on your mind? Everything is open.
I just want to also express appreciation for the reading that Jill does, and um, I took it to heart yesterday what you said, Eddie, about listening to her while you were walking and so on. So um, I listened while I was driving, in a sense. So it was beautiful. It reinforces, you know, the things you read, but I think it's also a different blessing to hear something because we talk about that quite a bit, don't we?
Yes, yes,
To hear things, to hear the word of God and so on.
yes.
It's for sure been interesting. I'm glad everybody is able to like use it though.
Thank you, Jill, because it's with me on the phone. It's here on the desk. I mean, this is another set, but it's with me on the phone. And whenever I am, doesn't matter where, I plug I plug the earbud and I listen to you in different weathers, in different conditions. I always listen to the reading. I listen to your voice. I listen to your pronunciation, how you express ideas. And it's beautiful because I'm always there, you see?
Hmm.
It's a
I
And
great
think
and the
gift.
same
Yeah. Yes,
the
Jeff?
same thing go the same thing goes for this format too that you have going to YouTube. It's so valuable to be able to just put the earbuds in and listen to this again.
Yeah, I
Things
agree. I
yeah.
like doing that with your podcast. I think that's originally I came across your podcast, and that's how I ended up coming to the class. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. And so it's in the morning times I'll get up and I'm like, okay, I can listen to at least two or three, and I get something different every time. And but there's so many out there. It's such a blessing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And here's Rodrigo, our friend. Good morning, Rodrigo, and good morning, Lisiane. Can you hear us?
Good morning, Etty. Shalom, everybody, Jeff and Jill. And I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so.
Shalom, Rodrigo.
Shalom.
Shalom, shalom. So now, if we have a bit of time, we can pop into the whiteboard and see what is happening there. It is the text that we have started reading yesterday, but since there's so much into it, we shall look into it also today from a different perspective. If you have questions, go ahead and ask. If you want to speak about the painting, please feel free. And if you would like to read it, it's also welcome. What would you like to do? Jill, Rodrigo?
It doesn't matter to me. The painting is interesting though this time. I mean,
Okay.
the painting's always interesting, but sometimes it's like I can't figure it out. And so I'm
Okay.
like, well, maybe if it's some text, I can understand what's going on.
So you would like to start with the text?
No, I think the painting would be really interesting to start with today.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So who would you like, what would you say about it and how would you describe it?
It, to me, it looks like there's somebody there's the man who's taking bread either from the tree or I would assume he's taking it from the tree. Um, he stands pretty tall in comparison to the tree as well.
Yes. And do you notice, I shall, how do you say, zoom in. Can you describe what is he holding in his hand? The, the formation, what is it? How does it look like to you?
Looks like a circular piece, but to me, it looks like maybe there's a cross in the middle of it.
Yes, yes. And even closer, what are what are those, so to speak, dark dots inside? Have you seen matzah before, Jill?
I probably have, but it would have been on TV or something, possibly.
Okay. So it is interesting what you describe. Everything. What we see here as spots, or Nadalia is here, good morning. And I think also Marcio Gomez is here, good morning to all. So what we see here is, so to speak, Passover bread or matzah. Matzah is thin bread, poor bread, and the dots that we see or the dark spots that we see are the holes inside. Can we think together why this special Passover bread is so thin? Why does it have more holes? Because usually when we go to the bakery or the supermarket, when we buy bread, the bread is puffed, round, it has a volume. But here it's very, very thin bread. How does this idea of very thin bread and everybody's open to answer, also people on YouTube. What is so different between the usual bread that people eat during the whole year long?
Well, for one thing, this is not leavened.
Mm-hmm. It's true. This true.
There
And
is.
Yes.
go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Please go ahead, you, Jeff. Please, sorry.
No, after you, sir.
No, I just was saying that the matzah is without fermentation. Matzah is bread without fermentation, something like that.
Yes. Yes. And let's connect why usually eat or associate the going out of Egypt with unfermented bread. Why they connect between those two things? To go out of Egypt goes with. Good morning, Michelle. We're very happy that you're here. It's after midnight. Yes, in Australia. So thank you for being with us here. Thank you.
Yeah, kudos. It's awesome.
So what is the connection between a will of going out of Egypt and a thin bread or unweaved bread or poor's man bread? In order, let's think about it as Passover, not just as historical event, a person who wants to be free. What should have been his daily bread? From what should he exist?
From the tree of life or the word of God,
Yes, yes,
he should
This-
exist.
yes. This is
But
why.
he's been starving on that diet.
This is why people usually eat it 7 days, and the rest of the year people eat usually real bread with yeast or yes, leaven. Victoria is saying I could imagine the yeast is representing sin. It's very interesting. It's
Yeah, that's
yes.
kind of what the some of the other scriptures talk about.
Mm-hmm. Self-importance. Yes, a person who's always, because the yeast makes the dough like puffed and high and multiple its measure. So the yeast is like how do you say, a parable to a person with a lot of self-importance. He's always angry, he's always upset, something is bothering him, he's always occupied. If you let the dough sit in some bowl with yeast and you give it enough time and certain temperature, the dough multiply itself. And there is a parallel system between how do you say, a yeast bread or yeast dough and a person who is self-possessed. Now pay attention to the thumb of the man. He's holding this matzah bread, thin bread or poor's man bread. Where is his thumb and where the other 4 fingers? And what can we learn from this about the matzah as a bread?
Well, I'll take a shot at it, Eddie. The thumb would be the potential, and so the potential is, or the spirit is foremost here with this bread, and the 4 is hidden. The material is being covered by the bread.
Excellent, excellent. What is the relation between the thumb and the face of the man? If we look, we see his face, we see his thumb, and then there's a matzah that he is holding, and the 4 rest fingers are behind the matzah or the world. So, which finger is most close or the closest to this man's face? Did we understand the question?
Yes.
Oh, I already answered it while opening the topic.
I didn't know if somebody wanted to chime in.
It
Yes,
looks like his thumb is closest to possibly his nose.
yes, yes. And yes, and what does it mean? Fernando, good morning. We're very happy that you're here. Yes, Jill.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it means. I'm sorry.
It's good. It's good what you said. It's good. Let's write the word face, face in Hebrew, and decode it. And let's first open the word face in Hebrew, decode it, and then return to the painting and see what is the relation between the sum or the potential and face. I'll move here with the board and open a color. I hope the measure is right. Panim. Oh, this is very, very, very thick. Okay. Panim. Panim is face. This is one perspective of panim, but this is panim, but there's also pnim, inner. We say interior designer in Hebrew, we say me'atzev pnim, so it's also mean inner. Inner. So face in Hebrew has like 3 dimensions. Why? First, it is face in English. Second, it's inner. And third, it has the ending of yod mem, which it means it's double or multiple. How do you say? We say in English there's one singular and it's plural. So face in Hebrew, panim, means 3 things. Face in English, inner, and plural. Now, what is the value of panim? We have 80.
180.
Yes, 180.
Very good.
Very good. Very good. We have 40 and 10. This is 180. What is 180 or 18?
Alive.
Very good. 18 is alive. 18 is alive. In Hebrew, chai, chet and yod. 8 and 10, which is 18. So, and when we speak face to face, when the Bible speaks about what does it mean face to face, it's 180. Yes?
Yes.
And 180. Yes? They share the same. Yes. Now, please remember all of this. And now let's return to the painting. Panim is inner, face, plural. Also 180, also alive. Now connect between the thumb and the face, panim, of the man. What is the relation or the connection between the thumb as the potential and panim, inner? If there isn't any answer now, we shall leave the question on air and let it be. as the thumb express the potential, and the rest 4 fingers are behind the matzah, representing the world, the human face, the inner human face, express the potential, while the 4 are the 2 arms and the 2 legs. Do we understand this perspective? This is 1 to 4. 1 to 4 in a man's palm is the thumb against the 4 fingers. This is 1 to 4 in one man's hand or palm. The same ratio works as well in a man's body, where the head is the 1, the potential, the source of the origin, and 2 arms and 2 legs are the 4. Do we understand that?
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Interesting.
Good. Students that learn in Europe in the, how do you say, the special times, Renaissance, the teachers were teaching them those proportion. The proportion of 1 to 4 is a divine proportion, and we can find it in the human hand, in the human body. We are just starting to learn the proportions. This is just the beginning.
Yes. And you know, the hand itself has 14 knuckles, so you've got 1 to 4 in that respect as well. So, and then, you know, each hand has 1 to 4 or 14 knuckles.
Yes, and each 14 is the value of David. And this is why each and every one of us is the son of David, Ben David. Each and every one of us is the son of David.
I mean, the Bible opens up with that structure, and it is being revealed that this is the structure,
Yes.
divine structure that you said,
Yes,
shows up in man.
yes. Victoria is writing, it's also interesting that people show appreciation by a thumb up. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Also, yes, that's true. Thumb up.
Excellent.
Yes. Questions and thoughts?
I remember you talking before about the matzah in terms of representing a fragile mind, though, like it's it breaks.
Yes, the poor's
The
man
mind,
bread.
yeah, the mind coming from Egypt,
Yes.
I
yes.
guess, fragile, cracks, breaks easy.
Yes, this is the poor's man bread. Halachmania. This is what we say in every Passover next to the table. We say 3 words in Aramaic. Halachmania. This is a poor's man bread. I write it here. And we point with the finger. Ha. Ha is like this or that. Ha lachma ania. This is in Aramaic. This is the poor's man bread because it's very fragile. This is a poor's man bread that our ancestors used to eat in Egypt. This is how the text is open. And this is another perspective. Since the matzah is very fragile, the time, this is very interesting, the time that we are, how do you say, baking, putting it in the oven, the time from preparation of the dough. How do we make a dough? We take flour and water. Since the water are touching, this is without yeast, since the moment the water is touching the flour until we put it in the oven to bake, 18 minutes on the stopper. 18 minutes.
Oh.
what we saw yesterday, how they prepare the matzah for the bird's head Haggadah, the whole process, since the water are touching the flour, 18 minutes, and it has to arrive to the oven 18 minutes. If not, people cannot eat it.
Really?
Yes.
Did not know that.
Why 18? Why 18? Because in the tree of life we have 10 spheres and up, yes? But that it will not go, so to speak, touch the malchut, the lowest. So we have 9 and 9, and then we have 18. So it has to be on, if you've seen on TV or you've seen in supermarkets, every matzah, the course of making it is 18 minutes. If it passed the time, nobody can eat it. Now, how...
So they're very precise on the time with that.
Yes.
Wow.
Now, the question is, what is the relation between the time of making the matzah and the face or inner? What is the relation? Even in numbers. It takes 18 minutes to prepare a matzah. I mean, until we deliver it, to the oven. And what is the value of the word inner or face in Hebrew?
180, right? That's what we
Yes,
showed.
180. So 18 minutes, and the value of face inner is 180. If we put the 0 outside of the 180, we have 18 per 18.
Yeah, there's a balance.
A balance, yes. And 18 plus 18 is 36, is like the hidden ohel. Yes. Or if we take it as there is intimate relation, again, there is intimate relation between the matzah, which is baked only 18 minutes, and our inner. There is an intimate relation. Not just in general, there's intimate relation when people are eating. But in this case, it is like the showbread, in this case.
Yes.
Because in a way, why do I say in a way it's a showbread? Excuse me. 1 second, I have to drink water. Excuse me, 1 second. Can you continue the conversation? 1 second.
Yeah. So the showbread, they were round apparently too, and there were Weinreb talks about it as that which is devoured by time, so to speak. So it's different than like the light across the room with the candles and the menorah that rises up. So in some way, this is, as far as the showbread goes, it is in relationship to gravity in that manner.
Since this is thank you.
Yeah, you better.
Yes, I just had to drink. Thank you. Since the matzah, the time of baking the matzah is 18 minutes, and 18 is alive, and also a face inner is alive. In a way, the inner, when we meet the inner inside of us and in others, or the showbread, we are alive. This is the nourishment of the tree of life. In the tree of life, there is no yeast. In the tree of life, there is no anger or suffering. Tree of life is the mode of being. So nobody's angry, and nobody's puffed, and nobody has a self-importance. So you see how the relations are being kept through the words, through the numbers. This is a very, very beautiful painting. I did not notice. I just unconsciously, it's not a logic decision. I unconsciously choose the painting, and Jill choose to open with this today. They're trying so hard to teach the relations between the matzah and the tree of life, and this painting exhibits it beautifully.
Yeah. I think it's talked about that, it has bread, right? The tree of life.
Yes.
I think I remember Weinreb talking about that it's I had never thought about it that way until reading his writing about it, that it would bring bread.
Yes.
So
Yes.
like in a way, like that's the fruit of the tree of life, is this bread comes from it. And it's the in the Hebrew he discusses that it's the tree that is fruit
Yes.
and gives fruit. It is fruit and gives fruit. And it's all the processes are there at once, which is a kind of a mind-boggling thought, but it's coming from the other side, so
Yes.
it's not bound by time. So like the whole process of the start to finish is observable,
Mm-hmm.
but also in access. Like you can access the whole thing, even though the beginning process, like you described, the 18 minutes of preparation to the flour and water and then into the oven.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can see, okay, from a time perspective, it's in process, but from a tree of life perspective, that's all there, the process, and yet it's also ready.
Yes. Yes. It's a
It's
process,
also
but
ready.
it's excellent. You say it's process, but it's still hidden.
Yeah.
Yes. It doesn't go out. Everything is being there. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it it's always a challenge, I think, for us to receive that perspective, but it's important to find it, receive it and find that perspective, to do that here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody else has some thoughts about this.
We shall be happy
I
to
have
hear.
a
Yes.
I have a question about the emblems on the outside, the Florida, was it Fleur de Lis?
You mean the lily? You mean
Hmm.
the drawing here of the lily? At the four
Yeah,
corners? You speak about the four
yeah,
corners. Yes, the lily.
yeah.
Yes.
That reminds me of um, when I'm reading in the book by Weinreb.
Yes.
He talks a lot about the lilies in there.
Yes, the lily as a flower. Shoshana. Yes.
Yeah.
Shoshana and a rose, the primal. Yes. So, Jill, first of all, I would like to point what Jill was referring to. This here, this kind of drawing, this is the lily here. We have it on four corners. And Jill was reading the amazing book of Esther as an audiobook in the last few chapters or parts. She's speaking about the Shoshana. Yes. So, yes, lily. And in Hebrew, Shoshana. Yes, Jill, you can speak about it. Please feel free.
Um, I just kind of just noticed the detail, but he speaks a lot about it inside of his book. When he was referring to Esther being in Shoshan, but doesn't he, I think he calls her the Shoshana or the hidden. I'm not certain because sometimes I'm reading, but I don't get a chance to really sit and listen and meditate.
Yes. So it's interesting. Shoshana is a lily because Weinreb speaks at few levels at the same time. So when Weinreb speaks about the Shoshana, and we know this botanically about if we open a botanical book, we see that there's Shoshana, there's a lily, but sometimes it's a rose. But what Weinreb says that the Shoshana in general has the value of, yes, 661. Shoshana as a primordial flower has a value of 661. It's the same value of Esther as a name, but also as a meaning, I shall hide myself. So the hidden aspect of us is being experienced by two words. Esther, I shall hide my face. I shall hide my face. This is one thing. Or by using the word Shoshana, because both of them has the same value. This is one aspect. Another aspect that he's speaking about is that we have the feminine Shoshana as a flower which is hidden. This is our source. Shoshana, this is the feminine because it has a hay. And he speaks about Shushan, the capital city, or the source of origin, Shushan. And this is a male aspect without hay. And this is, so there's a Shoshana, there's a rose or a lily, feminine flower, but there's also Shushan, the masculine, Shushan Habira, the capital, or the source of the origin. So this is also what he's mentioning. Also, he's mentioning the word shesh. Shesh, it means 6. It means 6. And he speaks about the petals. There's like 6 petals which are red, and 6 petals which are white, and this is the time. 6 plus 6 is 12. This is 12, this is time. And there is another petal which make it 13, which is unspoken color. This is the hidden. This is the origin of love. We cannot express the color. This is like few aspects that he gives to Shoshana and Shoshan. Shoshan again is a masculine. This is capital, and they're sitting. The Shoshana, in a way, the Shoshana, the rose or the lily, the invisible flower, the invisible structure of our soul, sitting where? In Shushan. And Shushan is not just an ancient capital city of Persia and Media, but Shushan is the source of origin and are hidden. The Shoshana, the rose, the lily in us is coming out from Shushan. Shushan is the source of origin, and the Shoshana, the lily, when the flower opens, whether it has 13 petals, depends on how we read it, or 5, depends. is coming from Shushan. Shushan is the origin, masculine, and from the masculine comes the feminine, Shoshana. Here it's 5.
Didn't Weinrib say Shoshana was even with the name of Esther for value?
Yes, of course.
661?
661,
Yeah.
Shoshana, and we name when we find it as Suzanne. Susanna. Suzanne is the name Shoshana, rose or lily. Basically, rose, yes?
Go ahead.
Lizzie or Liziane, Shoshana, Susanna, all of those names, are connected. Lilian, Liliana, Suzanne, Susanna, all of those names are connected.
Yeah, he was talking about that. And yeah, like I said, there I was listening to Jill tell that part. I believe, wasn't it the recording yesterday that talked about these numbers 661 and value of
Yes.
Esther? And
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was, yeah.
yeah, and it was almost like a 13-minute reading there, and you know how the synchronicities go with things, and Jill was wondering about the number 33 because of how stuff was popping up for her, and but I parked the truck. I had listened to this reading of Jill's, and the final 3 numbers on the mileage were 661, just like the value of Esther and Shoshana. So when your mind is thinking on these things and stuff jumps out at you like this.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you can't plan it. Just it's happening. The structure of the universe is happening everywhere. And suddenly when we have been with the Word of God and all of its structure, it starts to show up in our daily routine.
It's beautiful. It is beautiful because the more we listen, the more we are attentive, because usually our attention goes to the eyes. But this is why I listen on and on a few times per day, Jill, because the more we listen, the more we open inner windows inside. It opens the heart for attention. And once we listen, the heart is open. And this is what we need. It is beautiful. And there was another beautiful part that you read this morning, that the 13th word of Genesis is ruach, spirit, and this is the meaning of love. When we read Genesis, Bereshit bara Elohim, in the beginning, in English it's many more words, but when we read in Hebrew, the 13 word is ruach, spirit. Weinrib speaks about it.
And then he say those first 13 words are like this rose.
Yes.
This lily.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The 13 petals of the rose are parallel to the 13 first words of the Bible.
Yes.
Fascinating.
Because again, 13 is the value of love. So, then that's completed or expressed from the source, the Spirit. The foundation of the Bible are that love, and it's also seen in the word Bereshit. So, Go ahead, Eddie.
Yes, because in the Spirit there is no division. What divides people is the matter or the body of mind.
Especially without the Spirit. you leave the spirit out of the conversation, then it's a matter of matter, right?
Yes.
It's two perspectives and matter clashing.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Maybe Rodrigo or Fernando would like to say something. I see also Victoria is writing here.
Just follow it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Fernando? I just would like to share with you, since you mentioned the conversation, Jeff, I would like to share with you one idea that Thomas Mann managed to write about in his book Joseph and His Brothers, which is related to the conversation, or to what, in a way, it just comes out. There is, in the first volume of the book, Jacob is a bit upset. He's not so much upset, but Thomas Mann describes him as, this is his perspective, but it's very interesting to read his deep concern that he gives to the Bible. He describes Jacob as a man of very, very deep thoughts. And Joseph noticed that his father is going to a very, very deep pondering mode. Joseph is very sensitive to the father's spirit and to the father's thoughts. Though Jacob does not speak about his thoughts all the time, Joseph is very attentive. This is how Thomas Mann describes it. And to take, in a way, Jacob, or to bring him back, Joseph speaks to him very gently to withdraw attention to the present, to be present, that he would not wander so much to the infinite with his thoughts. And one of the things that he tells him, he says, look, my dear father, in the year long, we have 7 times 50 days. This is interesting. I would like to bring this to us to class, because this is, I found by Thomas Mann. He says to the father, we have 7 times 50. It gives us 350 days, according to Joseph. And then he says to the father, then to this we add the number 4. So we have 354. And so goes the story. He says to the father, there are 12 months. And I would like to connect to what Fernando said yesterday, because we speak about moon months. And the three first day of every moon month, we cannot see the moon. The moon is hidden. We do not see. So what does he do? He says, we have 12 months. The first 3 days we cannot see the moon. So he says, we have basically 36, he says, 36 days total around the year that we are not able to see the moon in general. And he brings this mathematic to his father. And from 354, he deduct 36. How much do we have? 354 minus 36, how much is it?
18.
Again, Rodrigo?
18, I believe. 318.
What is the value of 318 in Hebrew?
Siach.
Siach, conversation.
Conversation.
And so Joseph says to the father, 318, this is how Thomas Mann brings it through the story, because we learn this by mathematics, like absolute or abstract. And so says Joseph to the father, 318 days during the year we can have a conversation with the moon. This is the perspective, or this is the way Thomas Mann brings the mathematics. And through this story, it's story within a story within a story. This is what it's impossible to read Thomas Mann like a newspaper. You have to access it and until you
Yeah,
go inside and
that's
all of
amazing and complex.
yes, yes, and this is
But
it. Yes, Jeff.
what does it mean to have a conversation with the moon?
This is very interesting because the moon is the unconscious.
Okay.
And as we said yesterday, we have to respect the moments that we feel empty, or we feel darkness, or the moments there aren't any conversation, nothing is coming, like dead end. This is what, in a way, Thomas Mann brings through Joseph conversation. And Joseph brings the mathematics. He says, and this is what Fernando was pointing for us yesterday. He said that the three first day of every moon month, we cannot see the new moon, or people usually celebrating. I think also in the chapter that we read about David and Jonathan, the occasion of their meeting is once the people used to celebrate every moon month. 3 days and 3 nights, they're sitting at the table, they're doing nothing. In our
No
times,
conversation.
in our time, yes, nobody would to receive a new moon month by doing nothing. This is the doing nothing. Like we said, it's 3 days, but it's basically 72 hours. I'm just folding and opening behind the mark of 3 days. 72 hours stands for grace, for wisdom. 20 is for Bereshit, beginning. People used to respect those days. And also we see here, through the conversation of Joseph to his father, he does not take into account the 3 first days of the moon months as awareness, because people celebrating it with nature, they don't even, we in our how do you say, postmodern times, you have to be active, proactive, to make more, no. 3 first days of the moon months, people are sitting doing nothing. Respect is holiness, respect the nothing. This is why Joseph comes and brings it to the father, the siach, and we remember that also the value of Eliezer, the Abraham assistance, is also Eliezer, is also has the value, and he is a pedagogue. We can find the name Eliezer along the whole book. Eliezer appears with every generations there. He is the pedagogue, he is the educator, but not Eliezer as a body, but as a conversation. Why did I bring all of this? Because Jeff was mentioning conversation, and yesterday Fernando was mentioning the very pure 3 days of beginning of a moon month, and it came to me as a connection. The 3 days and the 318, and how it is important sometimes not to feel anything, or even to feel darkness, and let it be, because it will come. It will come. We are the moon, and like the moon is being born and we don't see anything in the western sky, we are like this. There are moments that we feel nothing, we see nothing, we have to respect it. But also, we have to believe that it will come. And this is why I brought yesterday the words of God to Moses and Moses to the people. Because what? Moses had also the problem to what? This month? What is it this month? But the month is being born dark. We don't see the moon, and this is holy? Yes, nothing is holy. Nothingness, we think that nothing is nothing, but from nothing comes something. So we respect the nothing. I hope that those connections are moving through you. And if you have questions, please do ask. In other words, yes?
I think they're moving through us. I do. What were you going to say, Eddie?
Yes, we think and we read Genesis 2, the creation of the woman, that God took a rib from man to create the woman. We think about it's like biologically, this is not. It is the creation of understanding. And as Joseph says to the father, the 318, the value of Siach, the value of Eliezer, or understanding, comes with the birth of the moon. It comes from nothing. And we have to give it time. We have to give it time. There is a spark that comes to the mind, an idea, innovation. But we have to boil up with this to first to speak it with words to ourselves, and then we can speak it to a friend. This is the process. This is the birth of the moon. The moon is this understanding. If we don't understand, we cannot communicate. Our bodies are from the moon, also our speech. There is a relation between the sun and the moon in us. It is very deep, and not in one day, but I'm glad that you're open to this.
Yeah, you're showing a relation with 36 there again in that story of Thomas Mann. You
Yes.
know, where we were talking about the face and the matzah, and
Yes.
18 and 18 is 36, but here in this story, 36 is the number of days in a year, in a lunar year, when you cannot see the moon, and so you've deducted it from the 750 or 354. You get 318, which is siach, or speech, conversation. And so the importance of those 36 days of silence is giving birth to the conversation between you and the spirit. This is what I'm getting out of that.
Excellent, excellent.
If you don't deduct those 36 days and be silent, in a sense, you know, 2 times alive again.
Yes.
The connection of the double witness of 18. Then, and you need 2, don't you, for conversation, right?
Yes.
You need one side speaking to the other and the other listening, and but at one point you need to be just listening to the spirit while the spirit speaks, or the conversation is not going to be born, right?
Yes.
It takes 2 to have conversation.
Yes.
So 36 is a representation of a dialogue between 2, really, that are alive.
Yes.
If one is dead, then the conversation just goes nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
So you need that, and then that's or basically this needs to happen between us and the Spirit,
Yes.
that we are alive enough that we're not, for example, or even intoxicated, that we're sober enough to be able to receive in a intelligible way with understanding, receive the conversation, so that the time of listening is very important, so that the conversation is born again, the siach is born, the 318. That's just a little bit of what I get out of it, Eddie, of what
That's
you're teaching.
That's great. That's great. Because a while ago, Felipe asked me about the mathematics and about the stars, of which Thomas Mann express and opens. There's a lot of mathematics. There's a lot of ancient civilizations, many laws. He wrote a book for 15 years. Every day he was writing, from morning until noontime, for 15 years. And he wrote this book as a coping mechanism. In Germany, in Europe, the National Socialist, Nazism arose, and as an author and people of the Spirit, they felt they were persecuted, him and his brother. And he wrote this book, and he hid himself in the book. Writing the book for 15 years sheltered him from horrible reality that happened in Europe those days. And what he put inside in terms of research, mathematics, astronomy, archaeology, everything that he had. This is his top, I would say, the peak of his creation. And just to read this little conversation between Joseph and his father, just to withdraw him from this infinite that he is lying in. And Thomas Mann, I don't know how he did it, but he has the ability to go into those moments, to speak about, to describe this emotionally. Some people can describe it through mathematics and abstract ideas, and Thomas Mann could, in a way, flesh it out in colors, in emotions, in drawing landscape scenes. And it's beautiful. If you can read it, it's not easy, but if you can, it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's the emotion you talk about there with Joseph being able to read his father's face, that he's contemplative and in deep thought, and he could almost read his father's face like that was a book. And then he brings this wisdom of consolation to his father, to, because people, I think we all go through this where we might be in the same room with another person and they might be talking to us and we don't hear a word they say because we're in deep contemplation on something, so there's no real conversation. But here you describe a breakthrough, that Joseph is able to open up a conversation and describe how to get in connection with the Spirit so that your heart is not so troubled. Yes. If I'm understanding it right, Eddie.
Yes. He managed to arrive he managed to locate his father somewhere where he is, very, very deep, and slowly bring him to a conversation. And the father, and while bringing him to a conversation, the father can rest.
Yeah.
Because Joseph sees where his father is going, and the consequences, unrest or restlessness or deep contemplation mode. And he managed to bring him to the present moment with a bit of delight that the heart can participate. And for a moment he is with Joseph. For a moment, like a Tai Chi. Yes, he brings him like a Tai Chi. Slowly he speaks to him with a lot of respect. For a moment. To ease his pain.
Yeah,
Yes.
and conversation, real hard conversation does that for people. If they're just, like a pot of cabbage on the stove or something and just boiling, without being able to share, it goes sour or something like this. But to be able to have somebody to talk to, for somebody to reach in and talk, this is so helpful to humanity, for people to be able to have somebody to talk to, and instead of maybe the lid blows off the pot, and then because they've been just stewing in their own thoughts, there's an angry outburst or something.
Yes.
And people wonder, well, where did that come from? There's a landmine they didn't know was there. And then there's destruction instead of healing, instead of a conversation, that a connection. And again, the conversation is, in a lot of ways, is the spirit reaching to the other person through you, isn't it? And the person can feel that. They can feel the spirit reaching to them. They feel the love, to open the dialogue is love.
Yes. That's true. So I told once like to Felipe, it was a couple of weeks ago, so I said, Felipe, whenever I will arrive to those, because you can never know when you arrive to this reading, it's like a certain mode that brings certain readings and connections. So I promised Felipe, whenever I arrive to constellations of stars or mathematics, I shall open it. And please feel free, if you read the book, if you have questions, please ask, and I shall be happy to read with you parallel and to go into those planes. Questions so far? Jill?
I don't have any questions. I just enjoyed hearing you and Jeff's conversation about that stuff.
Thank you so much. Rodrigo, do you have any questions? Victoria?
No, just to say thank you to be here. Thank you, Jeff and Jill and everybody. It was a great session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming here today and participating in this conversation. And Jill, thank you so much for opening with this beautiful painting. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jeff.
Amen.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Victoria and Michelle and Adelia and the friends here on YouTube, the Silent One.
Thank you, friends.
Thank you. And if you have time tomorrow, would you like to meet tomorrow? Would you like? Yes?
I would.
Yes,
Okay.
would be great. Would be great.
Okay.
We can do that.
We can do that. So see you tomorrow, dear one. See you, Michelle. See you. Thank you so much. Shalom,
Thank
shalom.
you very much. See you
Thank you,
tomorrow.
Addie. Thank you.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.